Welcome to After Dark at the Fix Stops Roundtable, featuring Katrina Ness, Vanessa Collins, and Ted Ings. This episode is brought to you by BG Products, partners beyond products. And now for your hosts, Ted Ings, Vanessa Collins, and Katrina Ness.
Good evening, everyone, and happy Wednesday night. Welcome to the Fix Stops Roundtable's After Dark show. I'm Katrina Ness, joined by Vanessa Collins and Ted Ings. And tonight we have a new face that Vanessa and I are just meeting this evening. So we're super excited to introduce Damon Egan. He is the service manager of Sherwood Ford in Alberta, Canada. So it's getting warmer up in Michigan, but it is still cold up there. And I heard that they had a rough winter. Welcome, Damon. We're happy to have you tonight.
Thanks very much, guys. Pleasure to be here.
Damon, it's welcome back, right? You're one of the originals at the Fix Stops Roundtable, but it's good that you're a fresh face tonight as well. So,
yeah, we go back a long time now, Ted. Since 2019, I've been invited by you to either guest on panels or speak, and it's absolutely awesome to talk to you again and see some new faces, which is always great in the fixed ops world.
So Jim Sabino, you were there in New Jersey in November of 2019 at that third Fixed Ops Roundtable, and that's where David, good evening, Tony, good evening as well, Alexander, good evening. That's where Damon came to the Fixed Ops Roundtable, and we all learned about service pickup and delivery from Brian Benstock. Damon is one of the most innovative dealers in the world. He is the Ford dealer in Canada. He is the service manager, as well in Canada, and very highly acclaimed in the U.S. and works closely with good friends of ours like Ed Roberts and big on mobile service. And Damon, you're a powerhouse in this industry, so we're really blessed to have you here tonight.
It's always a pleasure to be here with you guys.
So we were talking a little bit about Northwood in the green room before we got started, and I think the ladies asked how you got into automotive, and that was fascinating, Damon. If you don't mind, maybe sharing some of that.
Yeah, my original background was in banking, and unfortunately, the branch that I was working at in the city that I worked at, it closed down. So I needed a job, and I saw an ad in the paper for a finance and insurance manager at a car dealership. And I applied for that job and got that job, and it worked out. And I went into sales and was a sales manager and an F&I manager. And I didn't want to work from 8 a.m. till 8 p.m. or 9 o'clock anymore. And I thought, wow, I see the service guys leaving at 5 o'clock every day, and they don't work weekends. I got to get that gig. So I started off as a service advisor at an aftermarket shop, and after a year, I ended up buying the shop and then sold it, and then I didn't have a job anymore. And I need to do something. So an hour later, I got hired as a service manager at a Kia store, and did that. And then that was in Ontario. And then Alberta called and said, "Hey, would you like to come out here and enjoy less taxes and way more money?" So I jumped on a plane with 2 suitcases and an email, said, "Show up at this dealership." So I did. And 12 years later, haven't left.
Wow.
That's awesome. And, Damon was saying that he kind of fell into the auto industry. Obviously, you said you came from banking. And I feel like we hear a lot of people tend to fall into the automotive industry, but then they get stuck and they never come out. It must be a great place to work.
It is absolutely a fantastic place because it gives you a lot of freedom to do a lot of things.
Yeah.
We make an above average income. We work hard for it, but we do a lot and get a lot, and for that I'm very thankful. The automotive industry has been great for me and my family, and allowed me to do things that I never thought I'd do, like this. Being on a panel with esteemed people, and getting to spread the word and share the message, and like we were talking about earlier. The program at Northwoods is absolutely fantastic. There's nothing like that in Canada, and it's a real testament to the automotive industry that you guys have enrolled in this program, and going to be quite successful at it. And that's fantastic to see. So kudos to you guys.
Thank you
so much. Yeah, we're so grateful to be a part of an organization that really prioritizes that experiential learning and those type of opportunities for their students. And so, Katrina and I have been able to attend different industry events throughout our time here at Northwood, make those connections, and with Ted and the Fixed Ops Roundtable, furthering those connections and opportunities. It has just been so amazing. And as Katrina was saying earlier, kind of pivoting a little bit, you're in Alberta, Canada, and we were talking about how it is very cold, and not just Michigan cold, like -30s. So, being the largest mobile service dealer in Canada, what do you do with mobile service in the winter? We hear that a lot of dealerships, shut down their units. So I'm curious, what do you do during the cold times?
Well, that's a great question. The manufacturer really puts an onus to the dealer with a huge investment for these mobile service vans. We had to figure out how we were going to navigate this thing, not only through the summer, but through the winter. And when you're -30 for weeks on end, what do you do? I mean, AAA down in the US, obviously, when it gets cold, and you guys up in Michigan will know this, when it gets cold like that, you're waiting 2, 3, 4 days, maybe for a tow or a boost. So we actually marketed our mobile service van that we could get there quicker than AAA. So we were doing a lot of battery boosting, a lot of battery swaps, and getting customer back on the road. And if they needed some sort of diagnostic, we had diagnostics on board, and we were able to charge, a premium for this service. So, we really got to think out of the box when it comes to mobile service and the climate challenges that we have. I know when we visited Ed last March, in Florida, and we saw his fleet of vans, which is absolutely fantastic to see. They don't have those challenges, so they can run them 24/7, 365, and they don't have the weather issues. When we get to those kind of freezing cold temperatures, we're doing a lot of fleet work for companies that have shops, but in the event that sometimes they don't, we actually have an offsite shop that we can take vehicles to, where our technician can do the work with the mobile van and do it in a heated shop as well. So we've had to get creative in some of the things that we do to combat against the weather. But again, this is essentially another revenue generating bay that we have to use and utilize to its fullest potential.
Damon, these ladies, when they were in Florida to see Ed, they broke down and they had to be rescued with the mobile van. So, ladies, if you're ever in Alberta, okay,
know who to call.
Yeah, that's it.
I love it. Good to know. Good to know. That's awesome. That's awesome. So, how has AI been for you guys, and what is your opinion on it, Damon? And how do you think it's going to affect the tomorrow's service department?
That is a very, very intriguing question. And Ted, I think you can attest to this. When we heard Brian talk in 2019 about pickup and drop off, because of the traffic constraints and the congestion in the New York area, he had to go out of the box and think, how can I utilize this to its fullest potential? I think that's where AI is right now. We are at our store, we're early adopters of AI. There's a lot of companies out there that are promoting AI, but it's not where it needs to be yet in some cases. We have currently signed a deal with an AI company to take care of all our inbound and outbound business development calls.
Okay.
Now, to say that it is perfect, it's not, but is it low level, like entry level calls? Absolutely. I think what it's going to do is it's going to streamline the dealership human capital concept, and it's going to do everything 100% of the time. What we've seen, in its simplest form would be self-service kiosks that dealerships installed. And one of the big things with the self-serve kiosk was that it always asked the question 100% of the time to 100% of the people. And I think that that's what AI is going to do, because essentially you can build it out to whatever you want it to do. And you can essentially have an employee that's never going to take a day off, that's never going to have vacation, that'll work 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, and ask all the right questions 100% of the time.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that that's really where the future is going. Do I think it's going to replace every human in a service department? Absolutely not. But do I think that those level 1 jobs are going to go by the wayside? It's an unfortunate fact. But yes, I think that that's exactly what's going to happen.
Damon, you mentioned BDC. Do you know this young lady in the chat, Sarah Ventine?
Actually, yes. Sarah and I have conversed a lot, and she's been a great help to our dealership with our current BDC crew that we have. So, hi, Sarah. Nice to see you. Nice to see you again. Again, that's the type of community that we have, is that we can call on each other at any time, and nobody wants anything in return. It's just we all want to help each other get better.
Katrina, you and I heard that word earlier today, community, when we were talking to somebody.
Yeah, we were talking about culture and how culture builds people into a community.
Oh, absolutely. And that's such a huge thing. And I'm really glad that we've got, like you guys coming through this automotive program, because I think that that's one of the biggest paradigm shifts in the automotive industry is now we're focused on culture as opposed to expectations. And the new generation coming in is less about we've always done it this way and more about how can we be disruptors?
Yeah.
How can we disrupt the industry and make it better for people? Because it's less about the transaction and more about the experience now.
Mm-hmm. Definitely.
Very well put.
Yeah.
And Damon, we see a lot of things in our industry, right? We get, it's great that we can bounce ideas off each other as well. And the community that Ed has built down at Beaux-Arts is pretty amazing. These ladies had a chance to see it late last year in person. And I understand the community that you've built up there at Sherwood is pretty amazing also.
Well, we've really tried to emulate what Ed does, because when my assistant manager and myself went down for a week, we didn't believe that it was as good as what Ed said. I mean, it
can't be that good. Yeah.
There's no way that it could be that good.
No.
And from the people that clean the building to the lube techs to the parts people, they all work in harmony. And it's just such a good place to be. And we really wanted to emulate that. And we've taken the approach of it's less about the output and more about the transparency and the experience. There's really one thing that Ed said that stuck out to me, and that is that the new currency that we're dealing in is time and convenience and not money anymore. And people will always pay a premium to get their time back and make it convenient.
Mm-hmm.
Because one of the bad rap with any car dealership, and especially the service department, is that nobody wants to come and see us because they know it's going to be expensive and it's going to be pain. And we don't want that. We really don't. I don't want grumpy people in my service department. So that's why we do a lot of pickup and drop off. And we want to make it as transparent as possible. And we build and foster those relationships with our guests when they come in, even if we don't see them, but by text, by phone call, email, we're constantly in communication and letting them know that their time is valuable to us and their convenience is the biggest thing. So while most mobile services are really an extension of your business and of your dealership and really aren't a moneymaker, that's okay. We can live with that because we want people to tell other people, if you need a guy, I have a guy. And that's the big saying around our dealership, is that we want to be the guy. Like, we all have a guy that does our taxes. We have a guy that's a plumber. We have a guy that's an electrician. Well, we want to be the car guys. That's who we want to be. So when people have a problem, they say, I have a guy. You call Damon at Sherwood Ford and he's going to take care of you. And that's what we strive to do.
Wow.
Damon, are you finding like Ed is that, and I know Jim Sabino, who's online tonight as well, that the customer satisfaction on the scores on these mobile service visits, that they're through the roof, that they're extremely high,
Oh,
and
it's
the
huge.
customers love that?
It's absolutely huge. It's such a great thing because people don't know that it's there, that it's available. And then when we say we can come to you, oh, you mean I don't have to go to the dealership and I don't have to wait around and I don't have to wait for a shuttle that's not going to take me where I need to go, and then I'm going to have to come back. I remember Brian said in 2019, he said, I do not want customers in my dealership drinking my bad coffee, watching bad TV. Let them do whatever they want. And that's what we strive to do. Like that comment really hit home, is I don't want people in the dealership. I mean, we see it on the sales side now. You don't come to the dealership to buy a car anymore. You've already done your research. You know what your trade-in value is. You know what car you want. You just have to sign the papers. I mean, Tesla's doing this and has done for years. So why do we have to make it so hard for people to service their vehicles? We'll go out to them. They can pay online. They get a video of what's going on with their vehicle. They get full transparency. And it's easy. We have to make it easy for people.
For sure. Yeah. And while we're on this topic, Tony Owens, time is money for sure. And like you said, the value proposition that mobile service provides of that convenience for the customers is so, so important. So my next question is, what are some of the challenges that you've experienced in growing the mobile business for your dealership?
Yeah. Well, that's a great question. So when we first got the van, we didn't know what to do with it. They basically said, hey, here's a van. Go and do something with it. Okay, well, this is great. So we had to figure out what we were going to do. So who's really good at getting customers? We looked and we found a guy who owned a tool truck, like a Snap-on tool truck. And he got out of the business. Now, their primary business is to go around on their route and sell tools to technicians, but also to find new business. And we hired this guy who's a former technician. Well, he's a current technician now. And he goes and scouts business. And he goes and finds the contacts for the business. And we use it a lot for fleet, because a lot of fleets don't even know that we do mobile service. So we are actively pursuing all kinds of business. But I mean, even if you look at, and being from Michigan, there's a ton of construction projects that go on. I mean, if it's anything like we are in Canada here,
sure.
Road construction starts in January and ends in December. So one of the things that we do is, where we see that there's a lot of construction guys working, we'll go and ask them, okay, your vehicles are parked here for the day. Who needs oil changes? Who needs service?
Wow.
You're working, you're on the side of the road. We put up cones and we're right there, and we're there all day.
Yeah.
So, I mean, there's all kinds of things you can do. We don't want to just sit idle by and wait for the business to come to us. So we went and got the proper people in place to go and get us the business.
That's amazing. You're proactive. You're not just, waiting for it to come to you. You're proactive in finding that business, no matter what you have to do. If you're on the side of the road with cones, I mean, that's incredible. I haven't heard that one yet.
I love that.
It's the dealer principal at our store said, I'm giving you guys this gift. You guys have to pay it back. Okay. How are we going to pay it back? So we had to get pretty inventive with stuff. We incentivize our BDC agents to offer the mobile service 100% of the time. I'm a big fan of R&D, which is not research and development. It's rip off and duplicate. So I steal from Ed. I steal from Jim, because I see Jim's posts all the time on LinkedIn about what he's doing.
He has a good idea too. Yeah.
Oh, absolutely. So one of the big things that we've done is we took Ed's idea of taking the special order parts and taking them to the customer and installing it at the customer's house. Because the changes that Ford's made with their parts return system, we've got to get stuff off of the shelf quickly. So we grab that stuff and we just go to the customer, because 9 times out of 10, they forget that they've got parts ordered for them. They forget to come in. It's not convenient. Usually it's a warranty item that they don't want to come back for. So we make it easy for them to get this work done, and they don't have to come back.
Yeah, that's amazing. So you are the mobile service dealer in all of Canada. You are the Beaux-Arts of Canada.
We are number one. Yes.
And Damon was sharing with me, if I can just mention this, David, Damon, in the green room, you were saying that it's pretty expensive to get in, okay, into the mobile service business, maybe a little more, okay, in Canada than it is here in the States. You know, it's kind of hard to believe Ed's got all these units, and now Jim Sabino is copying it, but and doing that in the North. But you know, there's a couple more things, you know, a couple more hurdles, and maybe even some potential hurdles you and I were talking about, you know, in the
it's a quite an investment. I mean, it's close to 200,000 Canadian to be a player in the space, and that's not including any of the upfitting that we did to the van. I mean, one of the big things that we had to look at that obviously Ed doesn't have in his climate is we had to add external heaters into the back of the van, you know, at $5,000 a piece.
Wow. Yeah. And mobile service, it's fairly new, and there's already been so many, you know, new processes and ideas implemented. So for you and your dealership, what do you see on the horizon for mobile service in 2025 and, you know, even into the years to come?
Well, I think as an early adopter of mobile service, you know, in Canada, I think we've got to be on the precipice to really promote this. And we've promoted it hard. I mean, we advertise it on the NHL hockey games that are on. We do extensive social media marketing for it because we've got to get the word out there that we do have it, and it is a viable thing. To say, you know, to be in the good graces of the manufacturer and say, yes, we're gonna do this and put the investment in. We've got to put the time, energy, and sweat into making it grow. And I think, you know, because we don't have some of the advantages that the Americans do when it comes to mobile service subsidy, we don't get the kind of money coming back from the manufacturer that you guys do in the States.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, we've got to do whatever it is that we can do to make the thing viable, because we look at it as an extension of our service department. So essentially, to us, it's another bay that has to generate revenue, and that's the way that we have to look at it.
Definitely.
Yeah, here in the States, there are some incentives, right, for the dealers to get in. But that's because they've gotten a lot of dealers with a lot of vans, right? And, you know, they've given it a little bit of an extra boost, but it's gotten the attention of the dealer, like you said, who bought the van and say, now what do we do with it, right? How do we make this work? And you're not going to make it work with just oil changes, right? And especially, you know, some of the challenging climate situations that, you know, that you
Well, exactly. I mean, you know, essentially Canada is 12 to 18 months behind the US in anything that we do when it comes to the manufacturer. So we've reached out to the big players in the States, like Ed, like Jim, and said, okay, guys, what are you doing that we can emulate here?
Yeah.
You know, and we're not looking just at the same manufacturer that we work for, but we're looking at Mercedes-Benz, because they have all kinds of mobile service vans. So what are they doing that we could do, that we can emulate?
Right.
Because it's so much bigger in the US. And I know it's 10 times the population that Canada is, but we all have the same challenges, you know, like, you know, with Jim being where he is in New Jersey. And we talked to guys in Chicago. We've talked to guys in Michigan. You know, what are you guys doing? Because your climates are kind of the same as ours. And these are the creative guys. I mean, you know, when we went and talked to Ed and we spent a week there with him, and it was, hey, we've converted this van into a tire, you know, van, and we've converted this one into something else. And here we can make airplanes out of this one. Like such out of the box stuff. It's like, so if he can do it, why can't we? And yeah, it takes us a bit more because we don't get the same incentives from the manufacturer, but we've got a dealer principal that is very forward thinking, believes in what we're doing, and gave us the green light to go ahead and disrupt, make a mess of things and make it better, which is what we do. I mean, we're going to mess up, but we have a saying that nothing dies a natural death at our dealership, that if a process isn't working, we're going to kill it and we're going to do something better and quicker. And that's what we do. So we've been able to pivot very quickly with our mobile service from residential to fleet to a mix of both to, doing, cold starts. We can pivot very, very quickly because we don't have a lot of red tape to go through. And that's, again, it goes back to the community. We wouldn't know everything that we know without the help of the community.
Right.
Damon, you mentioned also the service, pardon me. I was going to just get in there that the service advisors you've got a lot of female service advisors. In fact, I think you said they're all female. I'll be quiet.
Yeah, they're all but one. We're very proactive when it comes to bringing women into the industry, and I really, we were talking kind of off camera about you guys have a big thing going on at Northwood in June, I think it is. We're probably going to fly down for that because I think really what you guys are doing is fantastic to bring a lot more women into the industry. A lot of people think that you just got to be a grease monkey to get into the service department or the fixed operations, and that's not it. Coming from a business background and you guys being business majors, I mean, this is absolutely fantastic. That's more of what we need in this industry. We actively promote not only women techs, but yes, women, like all of my entire service team, but one person is female, everybody. And I think it's absolutely fantastic. It's almost like they have a chip on their shoulder, like they have something to prove. But they're so good at their jobs. They're so good and they want to get better. And I think it's just fantastic. I think it really is.
That's
okay.
Awesome.
Sarah's saying we need to have Damon's team on a panel. That's
Absolutely.
right. We've been looking for a team of all female service advisors to do a panel. So I don't know if they'd be up for that, but we'd love to have that. If you could help us.
We'll help in any way that we can. Absolutely.
That's awesome.
And Vanessa, what's going on at Northwood that third week of June that Damon referenced? I think you might know about that.
So we are having our full tank auto camp. This is happening June 15th through the 20th. It is for 8th graders through just graduated high school. And it's basically where they come on campus, stay for a week in our dorms, and experience what it's like to kind of be in the automotive industry. And they kind of get a gauge on if it is something they can see themselves doing and if they can see themselves going to Northwood University to get that education. And like you said, Damon, earlier, the business mind. So yeah, Northwood is very much so business when it comes to automotive and not so much the technical side. But so we just kind of give them a feel for what it's like. And it's super exciting. There's a lots of events happening throughout the week, including our Fixed Ops Day, where Ted Ings and our Fixed Ops fam will be coming on campus, where we'll be doing a live pop-up event with many established individuals in the automotive industry. So it's going to be super exciting. And these students are going to be able to see that pop-up event live for themselves. So yeah,
that's awesome. That really is. And I think that what you guys are doing is fantastic. I mean, I look at our operation, and if I didn't have the business acumen or the business experience that I had, I mean, our operation is about $14 million a year in labor sales alone. Wow. So, I mean, you don't operate a $14 million a year business without having some sort of a business background. So I think great job to you guys. We would love to be a part of your event. So anything that we can do to help or anything that you need, always feel free to reach out.
All right, Katrina, here's your chance. Tell us about September. Go ahead.
Well, Northwood also has another large event that that's another annual event on campus that the Fixed Ops Roundtable participates in. This will be the third year featuring the Fixed Ops Roundtable, and it is our Northwood University International Auto Show. So this is a 100% student-run event put on by over 1/3 of our, students on campus, where we display every single brand of vehicles you can think, and then a bunch of different aftermarket brands, and then everything in between. And every year we invite a bunch of people on campus. This is the CAMS Industry Summit that we hosted last year. Ted and Sarah are up there moderating the panel, and that is just one of many events that we have going on that weekend, and different panels that the students get to participate in, along with various industry professionals. So
these guys are rocking it. Yeah.
No kidding. Anytime you guys need a job in Canada, come and see me.
Will do.
Keep that in mind.
I love it.
So they're doing a lot for the industry, Damon. So
Absolutely.
we learned a lot about you tonight, learned a little bit more about Northwood. Ladies, I know you're on holiday on spring break coming up soon, but I know you're also coming out to California next Tuesday Tuesday and Wednesday. I don't know if you want to just tell us what's going on out there, because we're going to be a big event together.
Yeah, so we are heading over to Sacramento, California for a pop-up event at the newest Porsche dealership in America. This is happening March 12th from 8 a.m. to 2 p.m. This will be live and in person. And we are so excited that we are able to make it and take a break in the middle of our spring break to head on over to California and experience Tully Williams' amazing dealership that we have heard wonderful things about. So make sure to stay tuned, because there's going to be a lot of exciting and insightful content on that.
So these ladies are co-hosting that with Sarah, Damon. So it's
Wow.
going to be we got a lot of people coming to that.
That's a powerhouse panel going to be there. Holy moly.
We're so excited.
Absolutely. I know Tully's going to crush it out there in Sacramento. That's for sure.
Indeed.
As usual.
I heard Ed may be coming too. So.
Well, this almost sounds like a road trip for the OGs of the Fixed Ops Roundtable.
I love it.
It is. So great stuff. Damon, any final words you want to impart on our audience? Here we are, beginning of March, looking into the new year, 2025. Anything they should be keeping their eye on right now for Fixed Ops?
Yeah, I think if I had a credo to live by, it's take the words "we've always done it that way" and throw them out the window. Be a disruptor. Be creative. Do something that nobody's done and make your mark.
I love that.
Great advice.
Thanks.
Nice. Alexander Maison in the chat, last year's general chair of the auto show. And Alex, thank you for all you do and everything at the Full Tank Camp and at the auto show and beyond. You're a great ambassador and influencer for Northwood as well. So congratulations to you. All right, Damon, thank you so much. And
it's been an absolute pleasure, guys. Thank you very much for having me.
Yeah, we look forward to it. And if we can get a panel together with the service advisors, I'll ask these ladies if they want to be involved with that too, and Sarah, and we'll blow it up big. And
100%.
We look forward
100% we'll be there. You just tell us where and when, and our team will be ready and at the ready for battle. All
right. Everybody, thank you for being with us tonight. Next week, we'll be out in California and Sacramento. So we'll be giving you updates live and otherwise throughout the week, and a lot coming next week on the Fixed Ops Roundtable. And then, of course, the big event in May. So on behalf of Damon Egan, Vanessa Collins, and Katrina Ness, I'm Ted Ings. Thanks for being here tonight, everybody. We'll see you next week.